All aboard! It's the Hasty Train. Let's go. I got the intro today.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, Day After Show Live. We're here. We're on the Hasty Train, I guess, according to Neil.
Best show ever.
Because I'm excited about last night's show. At no point have I said best show ever. Yeah. At no point did I say anything was a top 20 jam of the year. Like some people did hastily last weekend. But I did say last night was awesome. There's a lot to talk about. Man, it's good to be talking about a show I was at. I did.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done that, hasn't it?
I think I did what was it? It's been I think it was 6 day after shows that I wasn't at. God forbid. Yeah. Anyway, we've got a great guest on today. We've got Sean joining us. Sean, how are you?
Welcome.
What's going on?
Thanks for being here today. On your way down to Miami for night 2. Very, very exciting stuff. But how are you doing? What are your overall first thoughts of last night before we really get in the weeds?
Of the show in general, overall, it was great. I felt like they were locked in from the very beginning, especially Rick. It stood out to me. And Cotter, I think all of them, they had the same energy and it went the whole show.
Yeah. And whole new stage setup. The funny thing is when I walked in last night, it actually took me almost 10 minutes to notice. Because I hadn't looked at the stage because at this point, I've seen Goose enough times where I walk in and I'm going to the seats and I'm, chatting with people. And then I finally turned around to take a picture of here's where we are. And I was like, wait a minute, Peter's not usually over there. What's going on? Personally, I love it.
You can't argue with the results, right? I think there are a couple of things that are immediately noticeable from the show. One, which may be a coincidence, is that the playing improved. I think we can plainly say that. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it's not. It's probably not, right? They seemed excited about it, at least. Peter wrote a manifesto and posted it online today about why it was a good choice. And then, the other piece is that, at least to my ears, the stream sounded significantly better, specifically the drums. They were crisp on the stream. Haven't really dug into the boards too deep yet, but maybe it's there as well.
That's good to know. And shout out to Drum Tech Jordan, who posted before the show yesterday that he did a little rebuild of Cotter's kit, kind of put some things in different places, I guess, maybe to, open him up a little more on the left so we can see him now. But I'm a big fan of the side profile.
How does that work as a drummer? If I put my keys in the wrong pocket, I'm screwed up for a week. So,
right. And you can just put all the symbols that he knows are everywhere. Yeah. They can just rearrange everything. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. That's gotta be hard. That's gotta be hard. It's like playing a guitar left-handed all of a sudden,
Right.
I don't know.
Sean, Sean, before I throw it to you, that's also Peter, when he's playing piano now, the organ is now on his left instead of his right.
Right.
So that's a whole other, last night, I don't remember if he played any piano and organ at the same time, because I'm sure that's going to take a lot of rewiring in his brain to, to get that right. Which is just, really interesting after so many years of playing, or I guess so many, but after a few years of playing, with piano with your left hand and organ with your right hand, you now have to, switch. And it's not easy, but interesting there. Anyway, Sean, your initial thoughts on the stage switch before we get into the show.
It was like yourself. It took me a second to realize, and then the drums, they stood out more than anything else.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "What's this?" And I think the place inside was a little strange in general. The 3-tier thing that threw me off.
Yeah, the floor was tiered, and they weren't there was they had a very strict capacity, I think, for the floor. So the whole venue's GA.
Yeah.
But they were giving out, they were giving out wristbands for the floor, and they had a very strict capacity limit. And once they hit that, then you were not going in. But there was a whole tier that was left empty as a walkway.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting. But then there was, there were seats, behind the soundboard and then on the balcony as well, which was interesting. Interesting venue for sure.
Yeah. That threw me off more than the stage arrangement, I was a little what? But
well,
anyway,
where did you? Let's roll this right into pre-show vibe. Where did you end up for the show, and how are you feeling before things got going?
So pre-show, I got there pretty early. I got there around like 3:30, 4 o'clock. There wasn't many people there, so I thought it was good shape for getting a good spot. Not so much. But it was fine. I met some cool people, and I'm actually gonna carpool with this guy I met last night. So it's good times.
That's awesome.
Pre-show vibe was cool, but I had an extra ticket, and I couldn't even give it away. And I was like, and during the show, I was like, this is unbelievable. How could I not give this ticket away? Mm-hmm. Like, I hope they come back down to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, the venue felt pretty full.
Yeah,
but by the time the show really got going,
yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. It's always interesting to see, also because some shows where there's like reserved areas, you can have a good idea of how ticket sales are doing. But for this, when you go on Ticketmaster, there's only one GA ticket that you can buy, so you don't really have any idea of whether it's 30% sold or 90% sold.
That's a good point.
Yeah, but it was pretty full
for tonight, by the way.
If anybody watching needs a ticket for tonight,
free.
Sean's got an extra.
Free
Sean's
ticket.
got your miracle.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sean, where did you end up posting up for the show?
I was third tier. So there was like two in front of me. And the one in the middle had like a bunch of extra space. I don't know if that's the same one you're talking about, but it had a lot of open space. So it was kind of strange.
Yeah, it's interesting how they do that. They let us in, and we were trying to figure out how to get into the venue. And one of the security people was like, "Hey, the house isn't open yet. You're not supposed to be in here." And I was like, we went through security. We're in the venue.
It's very strange. Yeah.
And then we had to wait by a door for like 10 more minutes before they let us in. It was interesting. It seemed like not the greatest communication, but overall, cool venue.
I liked it.
But let's dive into the show here, shall we? Let's start with you, Sean. Your thoughts. First couple of songs, The Whales and My Mind Has Been Consumed by Media.
Fun. I'd heard The Whales at my first show, so I was like, I like it. It's a good show starter. And the Consumed by the Media is just a great song. I'm not very familiar. It's a new song, right?
Yeah, it's an old Cotter tune from his old band Summer.
Cotter tune, right?
But yeah, been around since September.
I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah. I can see that growing with the band too. So
100%.
That's a good one.
100%. Greg Lederer in the chat was sitting with Cotter's grandmother last night.
Oh,
that's
wow.
Awesome.
Nice.
Love that.
That's what happens when you go down to Florida. You sit with the whole grandmother.
Listen, I have never seen it was such a Florida crowd. It was great. But yeah, first couple of songs, Whales opener, always great. It was funny. It's like, Peter playing for the first time from that side of the stage, singing the song, and then Media is always fun. I keep saying, like, I would rather this without the super long intro. I think it would be funny if it was like literally just a minute and a half long. Cotter was having a good time though. He was wearing like the Daniel Boone like coonskin cap, whatever it's called. Yeah. And one of his vests. It was a whole. We're back on the Cotter fashion.
Yeah, he's tightened it up for a couple shows and then went right back to what he's been doing.
Yeah, he was wearing a shirt last weekend, but Florida, he's
when in Florida,
Yeah,
you got to pop the top in Florida. It's hot.
Exactly. Yeah. Neil, you got any thoughts on these first two?
Interesting, I guess, that you get a Peter song and then a Cotter song. That's neat. I could do that every show if there was enough of each. I'd be down with it. The Whales, sat on the bench for a while, and then here it is. It's back. I don't know. Not much else to add there.
Yeah.
Long intro to Mind. Yeah. Go ahead.
Let's get into this Mist. Really cool Mist. I think after Nashville, it's still primarily just that Bliss Jam that we're used to this year. But I think they're trying to do something a little different with it, especially Peter. We talked about the Seattle Born in September, where it's like, okay, maybe they're a little bored of just like the vintage vibe 2001 thing. And Peter's the one that's trying to push them in a different direction by using the clav. And I think this was the first jam of the night, not the last one, where he was using the clav, kind of in tandem with the piano in this more upbeat zone, just for a little extra texture, a little different flavor. And I really like that. in this jam. I thought that was really cool. Sean, what did you think of The Mist?
Yeah, one of my buddy's favorite tunes, and I thought it was a different song, to be honest, at the beginning.
Creatures?
But I loved it. But like, I was too distracted by the Born that came next. But I guess we'll get into that.
Oh, we will get into it. But yeah, before we get there, Neil, anything on The Mist besides
Ryan has
weirdly
roughly 5,000 words prepared for the Miami Born. Or have we come up with a name for it yet?
The Miami Born.
Okay, yeah. I just thought there would be a kitschy name, but we'll see. We'll leave that to Vickers. In any case,
My Borny.
Yeah, this. In any case, this Mist is cool but familiar, right? It's again, we're like kind of doing the When the Saints Go Marching In thing, which is now getting exhausting. I think this is the one that pushed everybody over the edge, where it's just like, okay, we get it, and it's neat, but like let's do something else with these. But I don't know, it was cool.
This is also the shortest gap between versions of Mist since June 2022.
Yeah, and like, so what does that mean, right? Well, I was tweeting about this last night. It's got to mean something.
I think it's just setting up, looking at what they want to play, in St. Pete or in St. Augustine, and even looking ahead, like, I guess that they're enjoying Mist right now, whether you're, feeling that the jams are fresh or not, they're enjoying playing it right now. But it's interesting to see on show number 4 of the tour that we already got a repeat. And I think that's just to do with, presumably, these 5 shows this week are going to be no repeats. So just interesting to see that quick turnaround there. But anyway, let's talk about this Born. Sean, you go first, because I'm going to talk for a long time.
Well, it's already like one of my favorites. It's definitely, I think it's top 5 for me, favorite originals, without any of the jamming. And then it got to the point where like they got through the song, and then it got to the first jam, and I started recording for my buddy that wasn't there, and it got to a 3-minute mark, and I had to stop because I didn't know what to do with myself at that point. And then it just kept going.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is happening? Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
It was going everywhere, all over the place. And it was just like solid, though. It wasn't like sloppy at all. It was so tight.
I mean, there was Rick missed a lyric and then missed a note in the initial guitar solo.
Yeah, but I wasn't focused on that.
But the biggest takeaway for me is the slow jam in Born is back. I believe.
I don't know. Hold on, it's not back. They just played it last night, but like, yeah,
it's back in terms of they hadn't played it in over a year. I think the last one was Louisville that they played with that tempo of a jam. So it's been a long time. And especially, again, one of the things that we've talked about all year is here's the 2001 thing again. It's not going to go anywhere for 14 minutes. And then it's going to, you get a few minutes of cool jamming. And this jam just gets right down to business. I mean, you get a couple minutes of like Eugene style stuff. I'm really sorry that you had to hear that, Neil.
It was wonderful. I enjoyed it because it went somewhere. Yeah, it went somewhere, which is what jam should do. So that was really good stuff.
But Peter on the Moog Muse and the OB6 in this jam, I love what's going on, in the initial part where it's slow and spacey. And then when Cotter starts to pick up the tempo, you have Peter doing this amazing, like still like pretty major key floaty synth stuff. And then suddenly he just makes it like you're like kind of uneasy now. And there's like tension. And it's getting a little darker. And I was like, whoa, and I loved the gradual ramp up of tempo from Cotter in this jam. I thought that was really cool. And this was the first time where I really felt that, the new stage setup was working. My mom actually had a really good point, is that with this, it feels less like they're all around Rick, and more like they're all, together in a band. Which I think is a really good point. And that's kind of the vibe in this jam. Rick isn't playing out front as much as he sometimes does, and is playing more like, kind of within the rest of the band. And I think that's really cool. But this Born I've listened to, I think 6 times already today. I'm gonna listen to it again after this pod, I think.
I think I might have to.
It's I don't know where it's gonna land on the playlist yet, but it's
up there.
It's gonna be up there.
It's a good one.
I mean, I'm trying to rationalize in my brain where this ranks in terms of Borns of all time. Like this is, I think, top 4 at the very least. I'm thinking just like Dylan, Eugene, Louisville. Is there one that's better than this?
I don't know. You'd have to go back and listen. Like I'm thinking of Seattle ages ago.
This one's better than Seattle.
Yeah, that's a cool jam though.
Yeah,
really cool. But yeah, so it's good. It's really good. I mean, I don't know. They're not doing the 2001 Jam plus. That's a major plus. And this is the result. It's just something that was really, really, I think, exciting for them. They're just like shaking things up, and I think that somehow results in good improv. It makes sense. You just kind of have a different perspective on things.
Yep.
Yeah. So this one is definitely up there as far as Borns go. I don't know where I'm at with it yet. I'm going to listen to it again, but I agree with what you're saying. This is another example of Peter doing something like you've never heard before on the synth. And like you might not ever hear it again. Like this might just be the time that he did this thing. And like
two synths at once. And then I think it was this jam where he's playing piano towards the peak and there's synth happening on that too.
Yeah. It really makes the jam. I mean, he does that all the time now where somehow he kind of takes the jam over, even though he's not the lead instrument. And it's just an unusual thing that's unique to him. I don't think I've ever heard really anybody do that before in the way that he does.
Yeah.
And this is a really incredible example of that. And so I said this a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again, or it's more like a few weeks ago, but like every once in a while, everything they touch turns to gold. Everything sounds right. And that's this show where everybody it all meshes and it all sounds great. And then like it comes later too, where you get like a couple songs where you're just like, how did we get here? And I'll point those out when we get to them. But this one, like you said, Ryan, kind of that slow tempo build, which Cutter's so good at, and he's been doing since like his very first show in the band, is kind of emblematic of what 2024 Goose is, including like Peter's like synth work and like, I mean, Rick sounded wonderful in this. It was great.
Yeah. Well, that's another interesting thing about this show is that on paper, like if I were to look at this show without hearing a note, or seeing like the song lengths, or whatever, I'd be kind of like, oh, like that doesn't look super great. Like there are a lot of songs, like also especially like, seeing, a butter rum in the middle of the second set, or like a flow down, like
not first step flow down.
Yeah.
Ooh, like
interesting. Right. But then you listen to the show and it's like, it works, which is amazing. Like this is one of the best shows in a while. I think like in terms of complete show quality. But let's finish out the first set here with, we got The Way It Is, Flow Down with a nice little Duel of the Fates tease, and Salt. Yes, it is Salt again. All caps, back to the original name.
Before we kick it to Sean, like, can we not make this a thing that like keeps happening?
Changing the name, please.
I don't want to have internet conversations with people about whether it's Salt or Zalt or SLT or whatever. Like, I don't care. Let's just give it a number. And then we can assign random titles to that number. Let's just call it like 43 and then just work our way from there. That's what I want, because it's about to get silly. There will be a controversy about this soon.
It's about to?
Somebody will get mad.
I think
I don't know. I haven't been on the internet all day. I've been working.
It got renamed.
So I don't know. We'll see. So sorry, Sean. I don't want to cut you off.
I went at the end of the show, I went and I like as Getty was already giving a set list to someone else, but I was like, do you mind if I snap a picture of that first? And he shows it to me and I see Salt. And I was like, this better be a typo. Like this better be a typo. And then, then the boards come out and it's like, no, it's Salt again. Anyway, Sean, your thoughts on the last 3 songs of this first set?
Fun. I wasn't expecting The Way It Is. That was fun, a little short, but it was fine. It was good. I liked that song a lot. And Zalt, whatever you want to call it, was great too. So
ripping.
Really good. And yeah, I feel like they just went into it because they wanted to throw one more in there. And and it was not like just a throwaway. It was sick.
Yeah, no, that song rips. And yeah, I mean the time management last night is like the best we've seen ever.
That was so on point.
They were on stage at 8:08, and we got an 80-minute second set without truncating a song. Like just super happy with how they did that. So hopefully this continues to happen, and hopefully again tonight they are on stage nice and early. But yeah, Neil, you got any thoughts on the last few of this second set or first set?
Yeah, way it is. Didn't realize RJ was going to be at the show tonight. Then late first set flow down. And then Salt's. Yeah, dude, that Salt's really good. And it's like every time they play it, it's really good. But I love this as a set one closer. It's killer. And it's like a lot of their set one closers have a tendency to be like 12, 13, 14, maybe even 20 something minutes. And then this one is like, it sits in about like 8-9 minutes every time and just rips. And
except for Utah.
That's good. Yeah, except for Utah. But this one is really good.
And your point, Sean, really quick on the way it is being short. Let's get a way it is jam one of these days.
Right.
It's been a while. Did I ever tell you that I saw them play an excellent The Way It Is jam at Eau Claire, Wisconsin? Because it was
perhaps
great.
the best one, not perhaps.
You might have brought it up before.
Yeah, you might have. Anyway, Sean, let's go into set break here. How are you feeling? What were you kind of expecting from set 2?
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest with you. I was feeling like a long opener for second set, and I was expecting maybe Dripfield because I didn't they do Hunger Site in where was it, Arkansas?
Wait, Alabama.
Yeah,
they done Drip in Winston-Salem? Did they play Drip?
Okay, yeah, I knew it was recent.
Yeah, they did. They did Drip at one of the shows last weekend.
Oh, okay.
Nashville.
Oh, it was Nashville. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. You're right. It was.
I just had a feeling it was going to be like one of those. Maybe I didn't know what to expect really, but I was still like kind of in shock by the Born. Still.
Yeah.
I was. That one will leave you like, your jaw on the floor for a little bit. Maybe even a whole show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just hoping for
second set for sure.
Yeah. I same. I was hoping for another big jam out of this show, which we got.
And then some.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just super happy. We got our good friend of the pod, Connor, aka Long Strange Niche, down with us for the second set, which was a lot of fun. He will be on the pod tomorrow. Nice. So if you like really long episodes and really fun episodes, that's what tomorrow will be.
Yeah, Connor said third time guest now. One time he was on, I don't even know if we can call that an episode of Always Almost There. I don't know what that was. And then because he was on with Cam Hurt, who of internet fame. But then it's always exciting. You never know what's going to happen. It's like having Norm Macdonald on a late night television show. You just don't know what he's going to do or say, and it's an experience in and of itself. So go ahead.
Well, let's dive into this second set here. Let's start with this pancakes. This is a big stack. This is a savory stack. You get a lot of sauce. It's not syrup. There's a lot of sauce on this stack of pancakes. This is to me where the new angle of Jeff and Cotter together really stuck out to me. Like watching the two of them play dual drums, kind of aligned, like with Jeff behind and above Cotter, as opposed to seeing them, next to each other. Also, they're facing in the same direction. So I thought it's really cool now, and I urge anybody going to a show upcoming, obviously if this stage arrangement sticks past tonight, watch what's going on with the two drummers, because seeing them both facing the same way is like a completely different view of what's going on. So really a big fan of that. Just really, really solid pancakes. I think it didn't hold up as well on re-listen as I thought it did in the moment. That's not to say it's not an amazing jam, but I walked away from that jam being like, oh man, like that might be better than the Born. It's not, but it's a really, really great pancakes. One of the best this year for sure. But Really, really awesome jam. Sean, your thoughts?
Yes, absolutely. Delicious. It was really good, really good. But like, I want to talk about other songs, but like, yeah, because I was surprised by some other ones, but we'll get into that. Yeah, just it kind of went all over the place, but again, it was like solid. You know what I mean? It wasn't like very sloppy, in my opinion. It was pretty solid jamming, and they were exploring the space, I think. And they were getting used to it, like you said, Neil, about how they're like feeling it out and like taking chances.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, the cool thing about Pancakes is it gives Rick an opportunity to flex, and he chooses to flex sometimes. Sometimes he doesn't. They go in different directions, and every once in a while, you get a version like this one, where he just absolutely like, it's insane, the shredding on this and the precision. There is incredible speed and precision. He doesn't flub anything to my ear, and I don't know how he does it. So this was one of the jams that I didn't hear last night because I went to bed and listened to first thing this morning. And again, another example of just like driving in the car and being like, what is going on? Like, it's this, again, the speed is bananas at some points. It's not exactly Salt Cakes, which is famous for kind of Rick shredding and peaking, but this one had just some excellent playing. This is an excellent jam. Love this as a set 2 opener too. Like, I mean, this whole show, just like the ebb and flow of everything, is just bananas. And like, coming out of set break and hearing this, like, that must have been pretty fun to dance to.
Yeah, so it was great.
Without the jamming too, it's such a fun song. So
people get down with it. Yeah, it's awesome.
Exactly, John. That is exactly what I'm talking about. That theme at the end there. Oh man, it's just pure flex, and love it. I love it when Rick does that. Why not? He doesn't have to do it all the time. Doesn't have to be like the big rock star, but when he does, it's pretty good stuff.
When he does. Then we get Rosewood and Butter Rum, kind of in the middle of the set here. Rosewood being I mean, good cool down. This is the cool down song of the set, pretty much. And I was initially very excited. Rosewood hasn't gotten a lot of plays this year. I think this was the 5th version of Rosewood in 2024. Which is not a lot compared to how much some other songs have been played. Shorter version, we get that like big type 1 peak, and then instead of going off from there, they go into Rum. But what a rum. This is my favorite rum of the year, unquestionably. But I mean, listening back to it, it's like they get into the jam. Peter switches to Vintage Vibe. Rick throws on the Mutron. Peter puts on like a very slow phaser, which I love that effect. And it's just like, oh, here's this progression. And, you're going to dance because it's awesome. And it's going to make you feel really happy about everything. And Neil, you said this morning, which is the perfect parallel, like Fox Yeti kind of vibe. Is it going to make the playlist? No. Is it going to make the bracket? Because a lot of people think that it should. Possibly. Sure. We'll see what kind of traction it gets.
You know what's funny? Like, again, before we pass this to Sean, I gotta say, if I was looking at the set on paper and you told me like, all right, so the throwaway song in the set is going to be Rosewood Heart, but man, that rum rips, I'd be like, you're full. Yeah. That's what went down. So
there we go. Sean, your thoughts on Rosewood Rum?
I couldn't say it better. That was my thoughts exactly when you're talking about it on paper. If you're looking at the set and you see Butter Rum, like when they started playing, I was like, all right.
Yeah, same.
It's a fun song. But then they went into this jam, and like I heard, at least I heard, and like I think it's 9 minutes in, it sounds like Celebration by the Kool and the Gang, like jam. And then I started singing along to it, and it matches up perfect. So you got to re-listen and get back to me on what you think, if you agree on that, because I'm pretty convinced.
Amazing.
So I enjoyed it a lot, and that's going to make one of my playlists for sure. Just
this one's going to get a bunch of plays. Yeah.
Oh, this will be listened to plenty. This is also of note. I tweeted this last night. This is the first Butter Rum played in the state of Florida since the Conga Line incident.
Right.
August 2023.
Is that Joey Fatone?
Yes. If anybody here has not seen that, find it and watch
Hilarious.
it because it is incredible. Joey Fatone performing Butter Rum
Pretty
at
funny.
Disney World out of nowhere.
Who would have thought?
I don't even remember how we heard about that. Did like
I'm guessing like it was my memory of it is like some dude in, like on the Facebook group was like, "You're not gonna believe what I saw."
yeah.
And then that's where it all began.
He just happened to be there with his family on like a random vacation.
Yeah.
And I mean, shout out to the camera guy. I didn't see any conga lines last night. Sean, you were a little further forward than me. There's anybody conga lining on the floor?
There was no conga line.
Disappointing.
But there was a guy with the mop who was very thorough with his mopping. I really appreciated him because for some reason my spot kept getting wet. I don't know what from. It was so weird. Maybe my sweat. I don't know.
But he was there. He was cleaning up.
Right.
Shout out to the mop guy at the film.
He was on point.
Yeah. There you go. That's the service.
Yeah.
Second set closes out here with Everything Must Go and Animal plus Don't Do It encore. Sean, your thoughts on these last few songs?
Okay, so Everything Must Go hits heavy for me. They played it at my first show at Salt Shed, and it was emotional then because I was with my dad who was sick at the time, and he took me out there for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he passed away, and they played it last night, and like everything, and like long story, but like Phil Lesh passing away too, and like Boxer Rain, and just like everything was like kind of fell into each other,
Mm-hmm.
and that song just hit me, so it was nice to hear it. And then thank God, I love Don't Do It. That's like one of my favorite band tunes, and I love how they play band tunes and they rip them all. And that one was perfect. And it was like a good like mood changer for me for sure, and a much needed one.
Yeah.
So, but I needed that one too. I needed both, so it was great.
And an Animal in the middle for good measure. John Shuley in the chat. Animal may be the song that has regressed with Cotter, or I'm just tired of it. You're tired of it. It's been about the same since the end of 2022.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. Yeah, it was fun. Everything Must Go, really solid. Just kind of keep the flow of the set going. And I kind of figured based on how the set was going, like we were just, we weren't going to get another huge jam at that point. So I think, I liked the shorter Everything Must Go. And I was expecting Hot Tea rather than Animal, or, even a quick tea in the encore slot. But we did not get that. And I still want to know why Cotter's not even singing backup on Don't Do It.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Like he has the microphone is not in front of him when the guy, literally had a cover band where he was the lead-on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Cotter and the Hawks.
Oh, wow.
It's awesome. But, gets no respect with Goose.
Yep, they're not changing it up.
Get no respect.
Yeah. So, a couple things here. Yeah. Where are we leaving off here? We going like rum through here, or we're just doing the last?
We already talked about rum.
Okay. Yeah. So the Everything Must Go. First of all, Sean, sorry for your loss, and I'm so happy that you got that song, because this is the stuff, right? This is why I think we're all into this, and why we travel to see this band and do all this stuff, because you have these incredible connections with the people who you're with at these shows, with the music, with the band, and it all just resonates in amazing ways. So I'm super psyched that you got that. And the jam that's in this Everything Must Go is really, really, really good. And it's actually like super emotional jam where it's got like this ascending like chord thing going on.
Beautiful.
Man, really, really good stuff. So I'm stoked that you got that. It's another example of the kind of jamming that they've been doing lately, where it's not an extended amazing jam, but that little piece of jam that you get is really, really, really well done. And then you get your Animal to close out. You get the double encore. You get the set closer of an encore.
Yeah.
And then they come back for a super short encore of Don't Do It, which, that is just like your regular routine encore slot song now. It's super frequent. But it does what it does really, really well, right? Which is like a super short encore, and it's a killer tune. They do it so damn well. It's incredible how well they do this song.
They nailed it last night. Yeah.
Yeah. Killer stuff. A great way to end out the show, though.
Yeah.
It's like dance your ass off on the way out.
And no audibles last night. No changes to the set list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it went exactly as it was written. So yeah, man, I'm very much looking forward to tonight. It's going to be great. Last show before Halloween. Will they give any hints to what the theme is going to be tomorrow? Who knows? Anything can happen. But I'm excited. I was thinking why haven't they announced it yet? But then I remember that in the past they haven't announced the theme, and you just get there and it's like, this is what it is. So
maybe there's no theme. There's no guarantee of a theme. So let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
I mean, historically for Halloween, they have done, for those who don't know, because it's been a few years, Goose has done what they call Netflix and Chill, which has been, they do covers of movie soundtracks. So they did the first Austin Powers in 2018. In 2019, they did Semi-Pro. 2020 was Donnie Darko at South Farms, and 2021 was Austin Powers, the second one, where Peter infamously shaved his mustache a few months after that.
Horrifying.
Yeah,
horrifying experience.
Easy.
Yeah, so anything can happen. I would say, Neil, it's a pretty safe bet that they are gonna have a movie soundtrack theme
maybe
tomorrow. But
I think it's safe bet. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. Although, for what it's worth, they haven't
played
called Netflix and Chill in a long
2
time.
years.
But what?
They haven't played Ghostbusters rap in 2 years.
That's tonight, man. Get ready. Strap in. Ghostbusters rap.
Strap in.
It's
if they play Ghostbusters rap, Neil will not be on the pod tomorrow.
Yeah. Just my protest.
Your contract has an asterisk that says, they play Ghostbusters rap, I will not show up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I actually don't hate it as much as others, but I don't know, man. Whatever happens tonight, I think it's going to be great. I think the music has been exceptional the past 3 shows, inclusive of last night. So let's keep it going, man. Let's just have a whole tour that just rips. It's been a while since we had a whole tour that rips. So let's just keep it going.
There we go. Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining us. Drive safe the rest of the way down to Miami. I'll see you in a couple hours.
I just want to throw this out into the universe real quick. If they play In Your Eyes, I'll be all set.
My mom will also be
I'll
very
make a large donation to Groove Safe wherever they want. Whatever. Money's not an option.
There we go. Awesome. Well,
Pod gets results.
For that In Your Eyes.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
Of course, Sean. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern to talk about tonight's show. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, we will be joined by our good friend Connor, aka Long Strange Niche. So it's going to be fun. You're not going to want to miss it. It's going to be a great Halloween. But let's go Miami Night 2. Schmiami Night 2.
Miami.
And I leave you with this. Fuck on.
Fuck on.
We'll see you guys.